Good evening. Today, we would like to talk about a case which is Colgate Palmolive versus Cheong for Weng. Colgate Palmolive is a global company which serves hundreds of millions of consumers at worldwide. This case about Murali Naidu, Mohandas Lechumanan, Jamili bin Hassan, Cheong Fei Weng against the employer Colgate Palmolive. Basically, it is an appeal against the decision of the Director General of Labour in regarding claiming of overtime payments under Section 60A, Paragraph 3 of the Employment Act 1955. This section says that any overtime work that carry out outside of normal hours, the employee shall be paid at the rate not less than 1.5 times of his hourly rate of pay. The respondent are required to work overtime and did it so. They also been paid on a mutually agreed ceiling of Rm 1325 ringgit. This ceiling can be found in the collective agreement between the Colgate Palmolive and the National Union of Petroleum and Chemical Industrial Workers. However, the respondent claims that they are manual labourers and they shall be paid according to the Section 60A, Paragraph 3 of Employment Act 1955.
Hello, my name is Divya. So I'm gonna explain about the issues that what really happened in the case. So in Colgate, Palmolive Berhad versus Cheong Fu Weng and 12 others, the issue arose whether the technicians were within the scope of the Employment Act, as their wages were above the ceiling set in the first quadrant of the Act. In the above case, senior craftsman, electrical technician, instrument technician, wastewater technician, and boiler attendant were considered non-manual workers since their job required the labor of brain intelligence as well as their required skill, knowledge, or experience. Well, the court went on to say it is essential to determine whether the work in question is purely physical in nature, as opposed to work which has a physical or a manual content but which is really dependent upon acquired skill, knowledge, or experience. The court held that the wage limit should be disregarded if the workers effectively create and show that they are indeed manual laborers. Unfortunately, the employees have failed to meet the test developed in the case to determine if they are truly manual workers. The term manual labor was defined as manual labor involves physical exertion as opposed to mental and intellectual effort. Thus, it is not manual labor if the real labor involved is labor of the brain and intelligence. Whilst all manual labor will entail some manual work, it cannot be readily assumed. The test to determine whether or not a person is engaged in manual labor is what is substantial or dominant purpose of the employment to the exclusion of the matters which are incidental or accessory to the employment. It is therefore essential to determine whether the work in question is purely physical in nature, as opposed to work which has physical or manual content but which is.
Yes, today I'm going to talk about the case Colgate Palmolive Berhad versus Cheong for Weng. Okay, as we move on to the judgment and comment section, we can see the judgment has said that the claim was commenced under Section 69 of the said Act, it is not disputed that the respondents were all materials times receiving a salary of more than Rm 1,250 and were not basic covered by the said Act. However, in their claim, the respondents contend that they have been paid they have to be paid overtime compensation as per Section 60A of the said Act, which requires the quantum of the overtime pay of figured actual month-by-month wage earned by the respondent instead of the agreed ceiling value of 1,350 ringgit. Comments. As for the first comment, from this case we can understand that senior craftsman, electrical technician, instrument technician was considered non-manual workers since their job requires brain and intelligence as well as their acquired skills, knowledge or experience. Their use of hands of carrying out their task should not be the purpose of their employment. Secondly, all categories of employments mentioned are required to apply their minds and solve daily problems they face in their work, and their job functions cannot be performed by laymen, but as it requires a qualification in the form of certificates or diplomas and years of experience. They are not manual workers. Third, thank you very much.